किया है मैंने।
ओके हाँ।
होल्ड डाउन हो।
गुड इवनिंग सर।
गुड इवनिंग। माय स्क्रीन विजिबल एंड ऑडिबल राइट?
सर दिख तो रही है बट सुनाई नहीं दे रहा।
तो क्या सुनाई दे रहा है पर ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा है, राइट?
सर जब हम शेयर करते हैं तो नीचे एक वो शेयर साउंड साउंड का ना एक टॉगल बटन सा आता है जो हम स्क्रीन शेयर करते हैं, उसी से
रुको रुको।
साउंड आएगी।
नहीं आ रहा है।
तो सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है सर। नीचे माइक्रोफोन करके कुछ एक होगा, वो वाला ऑप्शन ऑडियो में।
सर आप म्यूट है आपका सर।
हाँ सर।
रुको, ऑडियो तो मैंने सेलेक्ट किया है लेकिन वो माइक्रोफोन, अरे इस पर आई डोंट नो, मोर सेटिंग्स। रुको, मैं क्या करता हूँ, आप मीटिंग में रहो, डिस्कनेक्ट करके कनेक्ट करता हूँ।
सर आप स्क्रीन अनशेयर करके जब दोबारा से शेयर करते हैं ना, तो जो विंडो आता है ना जिसमें हमें विंडो या पूरी स्क्रीन सेलेक्ट करते हैं, उसमें सबसे नीचे टॉगल बटन आता है। उसमें आता है कि आपको अपने सिस्टम की साउंड भी शेयर करनी है कि नहीं करनी है। वो टॉगल बटन की वजह से ही होगा।
रुको रुको रुको। हाँ, वहां पे आता है कि आपको रूम का साउंड शेयर करना है या नहीं, बेस्ट ऑप्शन आता है।
कल मैंने जो मैसेज भेजा था वो देखा क्या? हमें एक और नया सब्जेक्ट लेना है उसका। तो क्या कुछ आइडिया है आपके पास, प्रशांत, रूपाली, अदर देन एजुकेशन वाला, दीक्षा?
जो जो हम लोगों ने मतलब इंडिविजुअल जो किया है उनमें से एक और एक बोल रहे हो ना, या वो
हाँ
भी छोड़ के दूसरा नया?
उसके मतलब जो इंडस्ट्री में अभी जैसे जॉब पोर्टल्स पे हम जैसे जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन देखते हैं ना, तो वो कभी फाइनेंस का और कभी मतलब जो वो ज्यादातर वो डिमांड है जिस भी डोमेन की, उस पे प्रोजेक्ट करने से कैसा हुआ कि हमारा पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ गेटिंग अ जॉब थोड़ी सी मतलब बढ़ जाएगी।
फिनटेक
तो
का एक मतलब ले सकते हैं क्योंकि उसका ज्यादा मैंने
हाँ,
देखा है। हाँ,
हाँ
हाँ
फिनटेक का हम
फिनटेक
भी।
भी चल रहा है ये,
फिनटेक का
क्योंकि
बैंकिंग सेक्शन।
हाँ एडटेक भी चल रहा है, तो अपने पास ई
हम्म।
लर्निंग एडटेक का तो मतलब ये
हम्म।
रिलेटेड प्रोजेक्ट हो ही जाएगा
हाँ।
जो अभी हम कर रहे हैं। तो फिनटेक का भी देख सकते हैं, तो फिनटेक के
हम्म।
आइडियाज एक एक दो दो रखेंगे ना, तो फिर उसको डिस्कस करते हैं कि क्या करना है।
हम्म,
फिनटेक, फिनटेक में देखा जाए उसमें भी चार पांच टाइप्स है। जैसे कि पेमेंट, डिजिटल वॉलेट है, इन्वेस्टिंग है, इंश्योरेंस है, बैंकिंग है। तो उसमें भी हमें चेक करना पड़ेगा ना, उसमें हम कौन सा ले रहे हैं। सिर्फ फिनटेक एक डेफिनेशन में इतने सारे आ रहे हैं ना,
हम्म।
तो उसमें भी सॉर्ट आउट करना पड़ेगा।
हाँ तो उससे जैसे हम लोग ने, सर आप म्यूट पे है तो सुनाई नहीं दे रहा।
मेरा स्क्रीन विजिबल है आप लोगों को?
यस सर।
हाँ
जी
हाँ
सर।
सर।
यस सर।
Okay, okay. So let us start from beginning. So I just want you to some of the tricks which we can use and use the AI. Okay, just listen very carefully and just let me know if audio is not reachable to you. Audio is reachable to you guys?
सर स्क्रीन भी थोड़ा स्टक है शायद।
लैग हो रहा है।
ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा है सर।
Audio is visible. ऑडियो
नो
आपको
सर।
सुनाई दे रहा है क्या?
नो
नो
सर।
नो सर।
नहीं सर।
रूम ऑडियो, रुको, इसमें एक ऑप्शन है, वो रूम ऑडियो में विजिबल कर देता हूँ। While sharing, include sound ना? Okay.
यस सर।
Just let me know once you can see my screen. Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Start from beginning.
यस सर स्क्रीन दिख रही है.
Okay. Okay. So let's wait for video as well.
Would you like to speed up your UX
Yes, sir.
design
सुनाई
process
दे
with
रहा.
AI?
Now it's audible.
Well, you can use AI tools across discovery, ideation, prototyping, and validation phases of your design projects. Hi, I'm Tatiana, a UX designer who practically lives and breathes AI in my day-to-day work. I'm excited to share my hands-on experience with many practical examples to help you refine your own UX processes. If you're curious about how AI and UX work together, join me on this learning journey. Let's begin. In this course, we're going to use a few AI tools to enhance our user experience design process. We'll start with ChatGPT, which is an AI chatbot that can assist us in the discovery, ideation, and validation phases. It's good to know that ChatGPT uses natural language processing to engage in human-like conversations. That means that ChatGPT can answer almost all of our questions or follow the given instructions. Next, we'll use Notion AI.
You can note down, na?
Yes, sir.
This is very important.
To
Notion AI.
brainstorm and organize ideas for our project in one place. Following that, we'll dive into Adobe Firefly to generate engaging visuals for our user storyboards.
Second tool is
Then we'll
Adobe
also use
Firefly.
Figma with the focus on its AI-powered plugins to create different images and text elements for our prototype. And if you never work with Figma
For this, we can mute our videos. Let's see, it's work.
Yes, sir.
You can mute your videos, huh? So that will really helpful for us.
before, it's good to know that it's a web-based design tool where you can create and share different user interfaces and design prototypes with your team. It's also worth noting that all of these tools that I just mentioned are available for free. So I definitely recommend to sign up to each of them before moving on to the next chapter. Imagine you are starting a new UX design project and your first job is to do user research. If you've been down this road, you are well aware of how time-consuming and repetitive research can be. But what if I told you that with AI tools like ChatGPT, you could speed things up? Let's say that together we are going to design a fitness application and our target audience is going to be users from 24 to 36 years old. They are young professionals and they are based in the Netherlands. And the first step for our user research is going to define the main market players and potential competitors with the help of ChatGPT. You can definitely search for this information on internet, but you can also use ChatGPT to get these details much faster, which will save you a lot of time. And now let's quickly open up ChatGPT to get started. If you are new to it, make sure to create an account so that you can follow me along. When you're inside, notice that I'm using GPT 3.5, which is a free version. But if you have access to GPT-4, which is a paid version, you can use it as well. Now let's quickly navigate. Give me top 10 leading fitness applications in the local fitness industry. Let's hit on the send message button. Here you just saw how ChatGPT gave us a lot of text. So overall, we got our 10 different fitness applications, which is a great start. However, if you read the first sentence, you can see that the information that is actually given to us is limited to September 2021, which is very important because this information might not be relevant to nowadays. So you'll probably want to extend your research with other sources. Let's navigate again to the prompt area, and this time I will ask ChatGPT to summarize the strengths and weaknesses of each of these applications. which can also speed up our research. So let's hit again on the send message button.
Okay, so you understand, right? Just reply in your voice. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And here you can see
Yes.
how ChatGPT is generating a great overview of strengths and weaknesses for each of these apps. It's very concise, it's very short, but I think it's also a great start to have a nice overview of pluses and minuses of each of these applications. You can also continue playing around with different prompts to get the most out of your competitor research for your design project. And another way to use ChatGPT to speed up your process is during research preparation. For example, when conducting qualitative research with semi-structured interviews, we need to thoroughly prepare for it so that we can get the most information from our users. And it is mainly to uncover their feelings, thoughts, emotions, and challenges that our product could potentially solve.
Okay, so we also do this for doing the research, qualitative and quantitative, which we already see in our detail academia. But how quickly you can get this research done with the chat GPT? So closely, guys, I want you to closely look this video. So this is how quickly you can use it. This is really helpful.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
In this situation, I use ChatGPT to assist me in creating open-ended questions that I could use during these interviews. Let's go back to ChatGPT, and I'm going to use the same session. And right now in the prompt area, I will add another request. So here I specify that I'm a UX designer and I want to discover what motivates and stops users from exercising. And I also ask ChatGPT to give me 10 open-ended questions. Let's hit on enter. So here ChatGPT generated 10 open-ended questions for my interviews. And if you take a look at each of the questions, they are indeed quite nice, and I feel that with them I could actually discover a lot about users' feelings, emotions, and behaviors. But still, I advise to use it as a draft and also add your own personal touch that is more relevant to your design project. And if you want to approach this task differently, you can also create your own list of questions and ask ChatGPT to give you feedback and suggestions instead. So for example, I'm going to add this prompt where I specify again that I want to discover what motivates and stops users from exercising. But now, instead of actually asking to generate the questions, I ask ChatGPT to give me suggestions for improvement. So here I have my first question, second question, and third question. So let's see how ChatGPT can improve these three questions. So here I immediately can see how ChatGPT took my questions and actually made them longer. And ChatGPT also specifies that with these refined questions, I can encourage my interviewees to give me more detailed and nuanced responses, which is quite great. Since you just saw how to briefly use ChatGPT for user research, I want to remind you not to fully rely on ChatGPT or other AI tools for this design phase. It's still very important to use your critical thinking when you review AI responses. And only in this way you can discover authentic insights from users that truly matter for your product.
Okay, got it. For research, we 100% not need to depend on any AI tools.
Let's
Yes, sir.
explore creating user personas with AI. As designers, we might struggle with creating engaging personas due to lack of inspiration, references, or even time. But with an AI tool like ChatGPT, we can gather other perspectives on personas to fuel our inspiration and also gather ideas. A quick reminder, a user persona is a fictional representation of the ideal customer or user for your product. In UX design, we mostly use personas to build products that meet the needs and wants of our users. So let's start by opening up ChatGPT to create the first draft of our user persona. So first, I will start with a very simple text prompt, which says create a user persona for a fitness application. Let's hit on the send message button. So from the first glance, it looks like ChatGPT generated a complete user persona with a lot of details. Here we can see the background of the persona, the name, age, gender, occupation, location, other demographics specifications. If we go a bit down, we also see the goals and motivations of our persona, for example, to achieve fitness goals or to stay consistent, and also a few challenges such as time constraints, accountability, variety, and so on. So overall, it looks quite decent, but my question is, how can we be sure that this AI-generated user persona is accurate and reflects our user research findings? In my experience, the more information you give to ChatGPT about your users, the more accurate the response will be. These details can include some of your research findings, interview insights, and also user challenges, their pain points, and behaviors. Remember that in the end, you get to choose what kind of information and how much of that information you want to share with AI tool. So let's go back to our ChatGPT session, and this time I'm going to extend my text prompt. So you can notice that
Right? We have to make some changes in prompt to take result as per our requirement, right? So check what kind of prompt changes makes focus on this prompt area.
I added some extra details about my users, which says that they are young professionals, aged from 24 to 36 years old. They live in the Netherlands, they work full time, and they have tight schedules, and they cannot really work out that much because of their work. So again, I'm going to hit the send message button. And now ChatGPT is generating another type of user persona. And now even if I look at the background information, I can immediately see that this user persona is already much more relevant because you have quite a Dutch name. You also have a location, Amsterdam in the Netherlands. When you go down to goals and motivations, you can see that now ChatGPT is focusing on health consciousness, efficiency, stress reduction, which is quite relevant for people who work a lot. And then you have challenges, which are, for example, time constraints, which is quite relevant for people who work a lot and do not have a lot of time to exercise, as well as motivations, lack of knowledge, and so on. So this is quite a nice and extensive answer that we got from ChatGPT. If you have a specific format for your user persona in your mind, you can also specify that. So in this case, I added to my text prompt to include pain points, goals, motivations, purchasing influence, and also the
Anybody's audio is visible.
technology proficiency, use technology, and other extra points. So let's see what ChatGPT will come up with. So we can see exactly the same user persona with the same background and demographics. And now we also have goals and motivations, followed by pain points. Also, purchasing influence is quite new because in the previous answer we did not really have that, as well as technology proficiency and use technology. So this type of information is quite relevant for my design project, but feel free to change the format the way it fits your project as well. After you created your initial drafts of user personas with ChatGPT, I also encourage you to validate them by getting feedback from your team members, stakeholders, or even by conducting additional user interviews.
Okay, when you created all the user persona research, then you have to validate with your actual data and actual users, potential user, who are they going to use, and you have to do the survey as well for this. So we are going to see in our next primary research survey as well. Okay, let's continue. And please keep your mute. Some background video audio noise is coming in between.
So now go ahead and try to experiment with the ChatGPT prompts we reviewed together to create powerful user personas for your design project.
Now we generating innovation ideas.
Did you know that AI tools can help you generate ideas during ideation? Ideation refers to the creative phase to explore possible design solutions and concepts so that you can tackle specific user challenges. In this phase, AI can contribute in two main ways. The first one is ideas generation. So AI can rapidly generate a multitude of design ideas and helping you consider a wide range of possible design solutions. Next, AI can discover industry trends and how you can possibly add them into your product. So together we'll explore another tool called Notion to brainstorm ideas for our fitness application. And if you never heard about Notion before, it is
Clearly see how Notion we can use in UX design. Okay, note down and carefully concentrate on this, because this will going to use in your day once you get a job, and this need to be follow even your day-to-day task. So please, I request you to carefully and wherever you want, note it down.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
an online space where you can take notes, organize project details, and generate different ideas. And recently, Notion introduced their AI writing assistant called Notion AI. It works very similarly to ChatGPT, where you just write your text prompt and it will generate the relevant answer. But the main difference is that in Notion, you can store all of your ideas in one single file that is easier to find, organize, and navigate through. So let's go to the official website of Notion at notion.so. So here you can either log in into your existing account, or if you don't have an account yet, make sure to sign up for free by clicking on this button. Here you can sign up with your email so that you can follow me along while generating ideas with Notion AI. So after the sign up, you will be forwarded to your own working space. Here by default, you will land on a Getting Started page where you can read more of the basics about Notion. But what we are going to do right now is to go to the left menu bar and add a new page. So in this page, we are going to generate different ideas with AI. So first of all, I'm going to change the title and I'm going to write ideas. And under the title, you can see different options that you can work with. So we are going to select the second option to activate the AI writing assistant. So right here, after clicking on it, we can see the text prompt area. So I'm going just to select this text, which says write about ideas, and remove it. And when I remove it, I can see more options that help me to generate different text and ideas with AI. So let's scroll down and find the section that is called Draft with AI. So right here, we will select Brainstorm Ideas. So here you can type your own text prompt, but I'm going to add features to include into a fitness application for busy young professionals. You can, of course, add another prompt that fits your project goals. So let's press the Enter key on our keyboard. So right here, we can see how Notion AI just generated a list of different features that we could apply for our fitness application. So right here, under the last bullet point, you can see the text prompt area. And here you can write another AI prompt to generate different answers. Also below, you can see the drop-down menu with different items. So you can work with continue writing or making the answers longer or marking this answer to favorites and so on. For now, I'm going to mark it as done. So if we take a closer look at the answers, we can see that AI suggests to add personalized workout plans, integration with wearable devices, quick and effective workout routines, and so on. So it's up to you to research and define whether these features make sense for your design project. So right now I'm going to continue, and by hitting the space key on my keyboard, I'm going to activate Notion AI one more time. And this time we are going to discover industry trends. So here, instead of selecting from the drop-down menu, I'm going just to ask my question. So the question is, what are the UX and UI design trends I could use for my fitness application? Now let's hit the enter one more time. All right, let's also mark this answer as done. And here we can see 8 different UX and UI design trends that AI just suggested. Keep in mind that Notion AI might not be up to date with trends from the past 6 to 12 months. So it's a good idea to independently explore trends beyond this tool. And right here, we can see some of the answers. So Notion AI suggests to start with minimalistic design. Then, of course, we can focus on mobile-first design, maybe even gamification and micro-interactions. You might also feel that some of these trends are quite generic and
Okay, let us see minimalistic design, mobile first design strategy, gamification, micro interactions, personalization, bold colors and typography, voice user interface. These all are the trends, right? Which going in the markets, how you can make your application, which you want to create the minimalistic design, mobile first design, gamification means you create the your application and it's like a game. So entertain engagement will be improved in your application. So what kind of you can choose?
could be applied to any other type of application or website. But it's up to you to research and define whether these trends make sense for your design project and whether you want to work with them. All right, so let's activate the Notion AI Assistant one more time, and this time we are going to combine both of the answers that we just received before. So here I'm going to add my question. So how to actually include these design trends into the fitness application. Let's hit enter. Let's mark it as done one more time. And this time we see exactly the same trends and they might look quite similar, but in comparison to previous answers, we can see how Notion AI just suggests how to add these design trends into the app. So here, if we read about minimalistic design, Notion AI suggests to use clean and simple UI and also to remove unnecessary clutter and focus on essential elements. The same way, if we read about mobile-first design, Notion AI suggests to ensure that your app functions seamlessly across different screen sizes. So here you can read through and actually see whether these answers are useful for you and for your design project. And in the end, it's up to you to decide what makes sense and what would be the most valuable for your product and also for your users. So here you just saw how we could add different AI answers into one file. So here you can, of course, make it much better and much more organized by, for example, separating the sections, adding other titles and subtitles, and everything that you need to make your document readable and understandable. Now it's your turn to explore new ideas with Notion AI. So go ahead, experiment with different functions with different prompts, and I hope you can get some interesting insights into your design project.
Okay, got it. How you can use Notion AI for brainstorming ideas and notation for small scale. Suppose you creating any part of the work in any existing application.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So far, it's knowledgeable.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So
Yes,
I
sir.
want to give some refreshment from the TDS tasks.
There is no better way to visualize the user journey than with highly engaging storyboards. Storyboards are essential in user experience design to visualize users' interaction with the product. With the AI tool that is called Adobe Firefly, you can create storyboard visuals that tell a clear user story, spark emotion, and inspire teams and stakeholders. Before you generate AI visuals for your user storyboards, you need to get crystal clear on your main character, scene, and narrative. To do that, I advise writing these things down and even sketching your draft version of the storyboards on paper. For example, I want to create a storyboard that consists of two visuals, and these visuals will show an interaction between the user and fitness application. So my first visual is going to be about meeting Lily, a busy woman who works from her home, typing away on her laptop in the comfy office. And the second visual will be all about an app notification that pops up on Lily's screen, telling her it's time to start working out. Since we have a simple storyboard idea, let's open our browser and navigate to firefly.adobe.com. To access this tool for free, you can log in into your Adobe account by clicking on the Sign In button. And if you're a new user, you can simply click right here to create an account to access the beta version of Adobe Firefly. When you signed in, make sure to go right here and click on the text to image card. Right now, we are ready to create our first visual for our user storyboard. At the bottom of the screen, you can see the text prompt area where we can describe the image that we want to generate. And right here, I'm going to add my first simple prompt. It describes a busy woman who works from home, and this will be used for our first visual for the user storyboard. Let's click on Generate. So now you can see how Adobe Firefly just generated 4 different images for us. Here in the text prompt area, you can add more keywords to change the images. So for example, I will add looks happy. Let's click on Generate one more time. If you would like to go back to the first version of the images, you can simply remove the extra keywords and click on Generate again. So here you see the first version that AI generated initially for us. Notice right here on the right menu panel the different settings that we can play with. So as an example, we can change the aspect ratio of our visuals. For example, we can select landscape, portrait, widescreen, and so on. By default, I will keep it as a square aspect ratio. Also, as a content type, by default, it is set to art. And as an example, we can quickly change it to photo. When I click on Generate, you can see more realistic photos that are displayed right here. But honestly, for my user storyboards, I prefer to work with art, so I will set this setting back as it was. In the style section, you can also play around with different settings. So for example, I will choose digital art as my style. And colors and tones, you can also select whether you want to work with black and white, muted color, warm tone, cool tone, and so on. So let's click on warm tone as an example. You can also modify your lighting. So for example, in the drop-down menu, you have different options such as backlighting, dramatic lighting, golden hour, studio lighting, and so on. So right here, I'm going to select golden hour. And finally, you also see different settings for composition, such as blurry background, close-up, wide angle, and so on. Notice that all of the settings that I just added are also displayed right here under your text prompt. So let's click on Generate again to see how our visuals will differ. So now I have different images right here where you can see warm tones and golden hour. If you're not happy with any of these settings, you can, for example, remove them right here. Let's click on Generate one more time. So I think that I actually like this first image. So let's hover over this image where you can discover more settings. First of all, I will save this image to favorites. And also by clicking on more options, I can download it to my local folder on my computer. In this way, I can use this first visual for my user storyboard. Now let's go to the Edit drop-down menu and click on Use as Reference Image, because this image we will use as a reference in order to create our second visual. So let's change our prompt for our second visual, and when I click on my reference image one more time, we can see the slider under it. So by default, it's set to middle. So the reference image is used to recreate a similar visual with the same character and scene. So if I move my slider all the way to the left to match the reference image and click on Generate, even though I have a totally different prompt, the second visual looks identical to my reference image. And this is not really what we want to achieve. If I move my slider all the way to match the text prompt and click right here on Refresh, then we have quite different images with different characters, different setting, and so on. So it's a good practice to keep your slider somewhere more or less in the center. Let's click on Refresh one more time. So now we have something in the middle, which is still not perfect in my opinion. We can also move the slider a bit more to the left side to match more reference image rather than our text prompt. And here we start getting something quite similar to our initial reference image. You can see the same setting and almost the same character. But I encourage you to play around with the reference image settings and also your text prompt in order to achieve both of the images that look similar to each other. And when you're ready with your AI-generated visuals and you download it to your local computer folder, the last step will be to arrange them in the correct chronological order to finalize your storyboard. For this, I typically use Figma, a design tool. But feel free to use another tool that you are comfortable to work with to create highly engaging storyboards. Let's create together user flows with AI. User flows are essential.
So you see, right, how you can use Adobe fairly for creating storyboards and very interesting different characters, different scenes in story, how you can create with the just click of it, right? Prashant, you particularly relate this situation. You may worked on creating storyboard and right, for
Yes, sir.
games.
यही सर नहीं गेम सर और एनिमेशन के लिए वही काम करता हूँ मैं.
Okay. So very minimal way you can create very, and there are many settings, whatever you want. So you can utilize that. Okay, let us move
Nice.
user flows.
User experience designed to visualize the interaction between the user and the product. And with ChatGPT, you can create basic user flows in seconds and visualize various possible interactions. Let's quickly open ChatGPT and create our first user flow. Since earlier we focused on creating storyboards where the user gets a reminder to exercise, in the prompt area, I'm going to add the following text prompt. Here I specify to design a user flow for the reminder feature within a fitness application. Now let's hit on the send message button. So now we can see how ChatGPT just generated the user flow that consists of 12 different steps. Let's quickly scroll to the top of our screen and we can see that ChatGPT begins with a step 1, which is actually a landing page where user opens the fitness application. Then the user accesses reminders section, setups the reminders, configures them, and confirms them. Then we also have other details to take the action, to access reminder list, to edit, delete, and so on. So you can see it's quite a lot, and maybe from the first glance it might seem quite generic, and this kind of flow can also apply not only to our fitness application and our users, but also to any other application that exists in the world. So to improve this user flow, I will go back to the text prompt area and add extra information about my users from the user persona. Notice how now I extend this information with showing that the user is 20-year-old young professional and the user works as a digital marketeer. And I also specify the primary goal to help this user balance work and personal life while striving for good health. So with this kind of prompt, I'm going to hit on the send message button again, and let's see what ChatGPT comes up with again. Now in this user flow, we see a bit of a different information. Now instead of just suggesting for our users to go immediately to the reminder section, ChatGPT offers to give personalized onboarding, which is quite important to meet motivations and goals of the user. Then we also see the fitness plan selection, and slowly we go back to reminder configuration and customization of the options. So in this kind of case, you are free to select the information that is relevant to your user flow and also to remove all other extra information that is not needed for your project. Overall, you can keep iterating on this task as much as you need by adding or removing information from your prompt to achieve the desired results for your user flow. Afterwards, you can take the text-generated user flow and transform it into the flow diagram in Figma or any other design tool you are comfortable to work with. And now you should feel confident to use ChatGPT to create the basic user flow for the product feature that aligns with the goals and motivations of your user persona and storyboards. Let's talk about creating mood boards with AI tools. Mood boards are a fantastic way to capture the essence of our design concept and set up the product's creative direction. And together we'll explore how AI can become your best friend when it comes to creating inspirational mood boards in Figma. If you're not sure what Figma is, here's a quick reminder. So Figma is a collaborative design tool where we can create and share a wide range of design projects. With AI-powered plugins in Figma, you can generate unique visuals for your mood board and paste them directly into the Figma project, which saves a lot of time compared to the searching online for different pictures, color styles, saving them on your computer, and then eventually putting them into the mood board in your design software. Now let's take a look together at the AI plugin I always use to create stunning mood boards in Figma. If you're new to Figma, make sure that you create a free account on their official website. Go ahead to figma.com and click on the Get Started for Free button. Here you can simply sign up with your email address. And when you are ready, make sure to open Figma and create a new project from scratch. You can also download an exercise file so that you can follow me along. So the first step I'm going to do is to create a frame which will serve us as a base for our mood board. Right here in the design section, I'm going to select a desktop frame. Let's double click on the title and rename our frame to mood board. The next step will be to go to the upper menu panel and select resources. Here we have 3 different tabs, and I'm interested to go to the plugins tab. And right here we are going to search for our AI plugin, and we are going to type FreePick AI.
So we adding and using plugins in Figma. So carefully see which plugins and how to use it.
This is our AI plugin. You can click on it, and right here you can see more information about it, so feel free to read it if you're curious. Let's click on Run. And here we have a very simple pop-up window, which is our plugin. So you have your prompt area where you can add your keywords to describe to AI what kind of images you want to generate. As an example, I'm going to paste the following prompt. It says that I want to generate a sleek fitness application that targets busy professionals, and it features motivation for workouts and progress tracking. And I also added I want to add a minimalistic style. Right here under, you'll immediately see more suggestions. For example, you can click on photo and you will add another keyword to your text prompt. Then you can also add some other keywords like two-shot angle and so on. So for example, I will maybe just leave the photo inside of my text prompt. And right here, it's also important to see that every day you get up to 16 generations that you can use. So if you reach your limit, make sure to close this plugin and use it again on the next day. So now when you're ready with your text prompt, make sure to click on the Make Magic button. So now you can see that AI generated 4 different images that represent the mobile application for fitness. And from the first glance, you can see different visuals with graphs, numbers, and so on. If we zoom into, for example, the first image, we could see that AI did not really do a good job of creating this user interface because honestly, the layout and the symbols do not look that good. You can decide by yourself whether you are satisfied with images or if you want to generate new ones. So for example, if you are not happy with these images, you can go back to your text prompt and try to change it. So for example, I'm going to remove the first two words and focus only on fitness application. I will also remove that it targets young professional, just basically mentioning that it features motivation for workouts. Then comma, let's remove the end word, progress tracking, minimalistic style, and photo. Actually, I will also remove a photo as well. So right here, we have a much simpler prompt. So let's see what AI will come up with. All right, so here we have another set of 4 images. For now, I'm going to close my AI images plugin, and I'm going to select both of these sections and move them a bit above of my main mood board frame. So let's zoom in again and see what AI came up with. So right here, we have just different color schemes and a bit different apps. And from one point, it looks a bit better than before, but you also can decide by yourself whether it fits your design project or not. If you're satisfied with your AI images, let me quickly show you how to add them to your main mood board frame. So first of all, I'm going to select the fitness application section and I'm going to ungroup all of these 4 layers. Let's quickly right click on our mouse and I'm going to select ungroup. So we can see that the first layer of hierarchy was ungrouped, but I'm going to repeat this action one more time. So here we have 4 different images. And for example, I just want to add, let's say, this image together with this one. Just select, for example, the first image. And by holding Shift key, I'm going to select also the last images. And I will slowly drag them inside of my main mood board frame. So let's also quickly select the scale tool where we can decrease the size of our images. And here I will also align vertical centers of both of the images and basically place them to the upper left corner of my frame. You can repeat the same process with the other set of AI generated images by selecting this section and right-clicking on the mouse and selecting the ungroup function. So right here, you can see that 4 images are stacked under each other. So for example, I will just select this image and paste it inside of my main mood board frame. And by also selecting the scale tool, I will decrease its size and place it right next to the other 2 images. So now you know how to experiment with different text prompts and how to use the FreePick AI plugin to generate AI visuals for your mood boards that will serve you as inspiration for your design project.
Do you want to continue this session? It will take more 20 minutes.
मुझे कोई इश्यू नहीं है.
Yes, sir.
It's okay, na?
हाँ sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
UX designers often need to gather recommendations for color and typography styling for the product. Let's explore together how ChatGPT can assist us in this process. Since we got inspiration from the mood board earlier where we created different AI visuals, we'll reference back to those ideas. So as an example, our fitness application should look modern and sleek, attractive to young professionals, minimalistic, and simple to use. With these points in mind, let's ask ChatGPT to give us practical and relevant suggestions for app styling. Here we have our new ChatGPT session, and we will start with our first prompt. Notice that this time I asked ChatGPT to generate a color palette with the same requirements that I mentioned before. So let's quickly hit on the send message button. So here we can see how ChatGPT gave us a color palette suggestion. If you check it, you can see that it's basically starting with a blue color, then also white, light gray, lime green, and so on. So notice that next to each color, you also have the hex code, which is quite convenient if you want to reuse the specific color. You can simply copy it and paste it in your design tool. So for example, in Figma. It's actually up to you to judge whether these colors fit your project goals and user needs. So if you want to explore alternative colors, you can click on the Regenerate button. This time, ChatGPT will give you alternative colors, which might differ from the first version. So here you can see quite different colors with different hex codes. So you can go to the previous version and actually compare the ones that fit your project the best. Now that we have some first suggestions for our colors, let's ask ChatGPT to suggest typography styling. So in this case, I'm going to reuse exactly the same text prompt, and the only difference will be to change a few keywords. So I will just write font styles instead of color styles. So let's hit the send message button. All right, so here we can see that ChatGPT suggested two different fonts to use in our application. And overall, from this answer, I can just see that ChatGPT is describing the font itself and explains why would it be suitable for our fitness application. So in this case, it doesn't tell me much. So I'm going to go back and change my prompt a bit. So this time I will just add another sentence where I want to specify font size, font weight, line height, line spacing for each text type for the application. So now let's see what the answers will be. So now we actually can see much more concrete font styles with different specifications. So for example, ChatGPT starts with a heading font where it specifies its weight, size, line height, spacing, and so on. We can also scroll down and see different specifications for subheading fonts, body text, button text font, and so on. So this is much better approach and much better answer that can be actually reused in our design file. And now go ahead and experiment on your own to explore different color and typography styling with ChatGPT. And hopefully you can find something that you can later apply in your design project. Do you ever have a hard time finding just the right images for your design project? I mean, not just any images, but the ones that stand out and make your product look special for your users. In past, I used to rely only on stock websites to get my image assets. But here's the issue. Every other designer goes to the same websites, and then we all end up using the exact same image assets for our product. And this approach makes my product look ordinary, lacking any uniqueness. To solve this, we can use AI plugins in Figma to generate unique image assets for our design prototype. Now let's go to Figma. Here you can see a simple template that I've also included in the exercise file. So make sure to download it so that you can follow me along. Here we see a very simple mobile screen with exercise reminders. And the gray ellipse and the gray rectangle are the areas where we will add our AI-generated images. So first of all, I'm going to zoom in to the top part of my mobile screen. As first of all, we are going to work with a gray ellipse that will serve as a placeholder for image avatars. Let's quickly select it and click on the Resources button. Make sure that you are inside of the Plugins tabs, and here we are going to search for a plugin that is called Avatars Generator. I will quickly select View Details as I want to show you that this avatar generates portrait images of fictional individuals that don't really exist in real life. And it's quite perfect for our design project because it removes all of the concerns about copyright and distribution rights. So let's hit on Run, and right here you can see a very straightforward design of this AI plugin. So we just have a checkbox that you can deactivate or activate to minimize children portraits in your results. And you also have a button that will insert photos generated by AI.
This is the another plugin to create the avatar in Figma. So carefully noted down how you can create and which avatar generation plugin. So it's very important and you can use
AI. So let's quickly click on this button. And here we have our first AI generated result. So I will also click again on this button just to see different variations. So here we have another portrait. You can play around with this plugin as much as you want so that you achieve the result that is actually perfect for your design project. So when you are ready, you can simply close this plugin and move on to the next section of our mobile screen. So here we are going to generate another image for our workout. So you can see in the layers panel that I have a group. So make sure to open that and select our base rectangle. So instead of this rectangle, we will generate another image with AI. So right now I'll go back to my resources, and inside of the plugins tab, I will again search for the plugin called FreePick AI. And you might remember that we already worked with this plugin while creating mood boards in Figma. So let's quickly select this plugin. Here we can also hit on the Run button. And here we have our simple AI image generator where we have the text area to add our keywords. And with these keywords, AI will know exactly what we wanted to generate. So I'm going to keep it very simple and I'm going to type yoga. So right here, you also can work with different keyword suggestions. So for example, add illustration as an example. And when you're ready, just make sure to click on the Make Magic button. All right, so we just got 4 different images that we can use for our mobile application. I'm going for now to close this AI plugin, and right here we have just a full section that first of all, I'm going to select and ungroup it. So make sure to right click on your mouse and click on ungroup. You might want to right click with your mouse again to ungroup these elements one more time. So right here, you can select the image that you like the most for your design project. So for example, I will select the last image and I will basically quickly zoom in right here. In the upper action bar, I will select Scale tool, and right here, I want to decrease it a bit. Now let's move this image inside of our mobile screen frame, so you can also see it in the Layers tab. I will decrease it a bit one more time. And also remember our base rectangle that we used as a placeholder for the image. I'm going to move my image generated by AI just above the rectangle layer. This is very important for this project. So let's quickly select both of these layers by holding the Shift key. And right now we go to the upper header and click on the Use as Mask. And simple as that, we just replaced a simple gray rectangle with the AI generated image. The only thing that is left is to add a simple gradient that you can also see inside of other images. So let's quickly select this image with the circuit training, and I will check the group and basically make sure to select my base rectangle. And right here we have the linear gradient. You can open it up to see how it was done. But to make it very simple, you can just simply select it and copy it with the key shortcut Ctrl+C. Now let's go back to my yoga flow group, and I will select the image that we just pasted together. And inside of the fill, let's select again on the image. And right here, I will use the key shortcut Ctrl+V to paste exactly the same linear gradient to my first image. And that's it. Now you know how to use different AI tools to generate avatars and other illustrations for your mobile application. As a UX designer, I often use lorem ipsum placeholders when creating high-fidelity prototypes. And many designers do this, but it doesn't quite capture the real look and feel of the final product. And here's the thing, writing the actual text ourselves as designers can be time-consuming. And let's face it, not every designer, myself included, is a great copywriter. That's where AI plugins in Figma come in handy. They can easily generate text for our design prototypes that capture the final look and feel of the end product. So let's quickly open our Figma file. Here you can see I already work with a simple mobile screen that shows more information about the yoga workout. I also added this template to the exercise file, so make sure to download it. First of all, we are going to select this workout description, which you can see is a simple lorem ipsum text placeholder, and we are going to replace it with a realistic text copy. So I'm going to click on the resources button and go to the plugins tab and search for the plugin that is called lorem ipsum. You can view the details about this plugin, and to activate it, let's quickly click on the Run button. Before we can start using lorem ipsum, first thing we need to do is to enter an email address. So make sure to type either your personal or work email, and whenever you're ready, click on Get Started. Here we can see a lot of settings that we can customize together. First of all, it's important to mention that you get up to 2000 words in the free version of this plugin. So the first setting I'm going to talk about is about this toggle. So when you activate this toggle, it will include the context of the surrounding elements in your screen. So in this case, the surrounding elements are the yoga flow title, the image, the workout stacks, and so on. So in the company name, as I don't really have a company name, I'll just type fitness app. And in the description area, I will just remove this basic template description and paste my own text prompt. And here I want this AI to describe a 20-minute core focus yoga class to inspire users to engage in the workout. In the advanced settings, we have more things we can play around with. So for example, you can add extra notes that you want AI to focus on. So for example, you also have suggestions for these notes. And as an example, I'm going to select Make it friendly. Right here, I will also type, for example, make it inspiring. So when you're ready, make sure to click on the Generate Copy button. So here we can see how AI just replaced our standard text placeholder with a text copy, which I honestly feel is quite nice because it's also not too long and the tone of this text is friendly and inspirational as we specified here inside of our notes. Let's close this plugin and I'm going to grab my mobile screen frame and duplicate it with the key shortcut Ctrl+D. We are going to use this frame to actually improve our text copy with the help of another AI plugin. Let's go back to the resources and inside of plugins, I'm going to write Write AI. Here, make sure to select Write Better AI Text Editor. This plugin is based on ChatGPT and from my experience is quite useful when you already have an existing text copy and want to improve it. So let's click on the Run button. So here we have a simple pop-up window. And as the first question, this plugin asks us what do exactly we want to do. So by default, you have improve writing, but you also have other type of options. So let's keep improve writing as it was selected by default. You will also notice this toggle that is currently activated and it will replace the text content inside of our layer. If you want to keep your original text copy, you can also deactivate it, but I will keep it activated for now. So when you're ready, click on the Rewrite Text button. So here you just saw how this plugin replaced our text copy with a new improved version of this text. So it's up to you to judge whether this text is better or whether you want to stick to the original version that was generated by the previous AI plugin. Let's again select our text layer and this time we are going to make our text longer. I will also keep this toggle activated to replace the current text copy inside of this layer. Let's click on the Rewrite Text button. Alright, so you can see that AI just made our text much longer. Even if I zoom out, I can see how this text is going on and on. And to be honest, for a simple mobile screen, this type of length is a bit too much. You can also read the content inside of this text layer, and I feel that it kind of makes sense, but it might be a bit repetitive. So this time I will again select this text layer, and right now we are going to make our text shorter. Let's click on the Rewrite Text button and see what AI will come up with. Alright, so now we have a bit shorter text copy than before, but it's still much longer than our original text. So now go ahead and experiment with both of these plugins to generate and also improve your text copy that fits perfectly for your design project. Now that you've put so much effort and time into designing your product, how can you make sure that it's working the way you want it to? This is where usability testing comes in. And usability testing is a phase when you can test your designs with real users to discover how they interact with your product. It's a perfect way to find out the areas of the product that work well and also the ones that need to be improved. Essentially, getting ready for the usability testing sessions requires a lot of effort and careful planning. And in my experience, AI tools such as ChatGPT can give a good starting point in the preparation process. So now let's open up ChatGPT and I'm going to show you a few examples of how I use it for usability testing prep work. So the first prompt that we are going to work with is going to be about creating 10 usability test scenarios and tasks. And these scenarios are going to assess user-friendliness of the reminder feature in our fitness application. And also mention that I focus on the first-time users in my prompt because it's quite important that I only want to work with users who never used my fitness application before. So let's hit on the send message button and see what ChatGPT comes up with. All right, so here we have 10 different test scenarios. And if I take a look at the first scenario, it starts with the following text. So you've just downloaded the fitness app, which is very common for first-time users who never had the app on their phone installed before. And then it says that you want to schedule a workout reminder. And the task for this scenario is to set a workout reminder for tomorrow at 7 a.m. as an example. So this is quite great. You can scroll down and read your scenarios that you got from ChatGPT and see if actually you would want to use them in your usability testing session. So I can go back to the text from area and paste exactly the same prompt, but this time notice that I'm specifying that I want to test the feature with frequent users, with users who use my application many times before. Let's hit the send message button. And now if we look again at the first test scenario, it says that you are a regular user and you want to set a daily reminder for a morning jog. So this is also quite nice because ChatGPT is focusing on a different user group. But of course, this type of scenario can be also tested by other users as well. So I also have a feeling that when you work with frequent users, you also want to test more advanced features. So for example, as in the test scenario number 6, that you want to set a reminder for a specific type of workout, such as a HIIT training. So this is also relevant for advanced users. Or even a test scenario number 9, where it says that you're a frequent user and you want to use voice commands, which is quite interesting. It doesn't mean that you also have voice commands available in your application, but this is also quite a nice idea generation for your usability testing sessions. So now I'm going to ask ChatGPT to do something else, and in this case, to create follow-up questions to ask our users during the usability testing sessions. And with these questions, I hope to dive deeper into their experiences, feelings, and thoughts while interacting with the feature. So this is our prompt, and I'm going to hit on the send message button again. All right, so let's see what ChatGPT suggested us as follow-up questions. So for example, we have here the task number 1, which is to set a daily workout reminder for a morning jog at 6 a.m. And here we have 5 different questions as we ask in our text prompt to follow up after this type of action. So I feel it's quite relevant because ChatGPT suggests to evaluate on a scale from 1 to 5 on how easy it was to set the workout reminder. Then we can also ask our users if they face any issues or frustrations, and if so, to describe them. And also if they received enough of feedback and confirmation from the app, which is also quite important when assessing user friendliness. So you can read more of the information that you got from ChatGPT and actually think if it makes sense to use during your usability testing session. Finally, to prepare myself even better, I want to ask ChatGPT to generate simple icebreaker questions. And icebreakers are mostly used at the beginning of the test sessions to create a comfortable and relaxed setting with your users. So this is my text prompt, and I'm going to hit again on the send message button. So here we have 5 simple icebreaker questions, and ChatGPT suggests to start with personal interest question, which I also feel is quite important to make the setting much more relaxed. You can also see another suggestion about asking the user about their fitness journey, about favorite workout, and so on. So finally, after you created your usability test questions and scenarios with ChatGPT, remember that not everything that AI comes up with may be directly related to your study. So it's a good idea to add extra information about your feature, its functionality, also who your users are, and maybe about the areas that you want to focus on. In the end, it's also your responsibility to design test scenarios that are relevant, because these scenarios should help you assess the user friendliness of your product and identify areas for potential improvement so that you can make sure that your product has high quality and meets the user needs. Another way to use ChatGPT for design validation is to simulate possible user interactions. And this can be helpful to test the user flow logic, meaning to confirm again whether each step in the user flow makes sense and leads users towards their goal. It can also identify possible usability issues. So for example, we can spot confusing steps in the flow, possible errors, bottlenecks, and try to proactively address these issues early in the design process before they become real problems for our users. In this phase, we can also get ready for usability testing in a way that we can take the simulated user interactions as a starting point to create better test scenarios. To give you a better example, let's open up ChatGPT and instruct it to simulate a user flow for creating a new workout reminder. Notice that in my prompt, I not only mentioned the reminder feature, but also I included brief information about my user persona, including the age, occupation, and location. This is important to get a more accurate simulation of our user flow. All right, so here we have the simulation of our user flow, and it's quite an interesting thing that ChatGPT called our user Mark. So it starts with Mark opening the fitness app on his smartphone, and first he goes to the home screen where he basically chooses from the options like workouts, reminders, progress, and more. So here we slowly can see how Mark is progressing through our app to navigate to the reminder screens, to create a new reminder, save it, confirm it, and so on. So this is quite a nice way to simulate your user flow before you even go to usability testing sessions. Now let's change things up a bit by tweaking our prompt. So I'm going to use exactly the same prompt, but this time I'm going to mention a user who never used this app before. So let's hit on the send message button. So you can see when dealing with a first-time user, ChatGPT simulates a totally different interaction. So here we start with a welcome screen where the user taps on Get Started button. And then ChatGPT suggests that the user will go through onboarding screens, which is quite important to welcome new users within our app. And slowly we can see the simulation of this user flow where user will go to set their fitness goals, also navigate to the home screen, and finally go to the reminder screen to set their first reminders. This approach gives us an excellent method to gain different perspectives on how various user groups engage with the same app. So now let's go to the text prompt area and add our next prompt. So this time, instead of simulating user interactions, I will ask ChatGPT to identify potential usability problems with our user flow. So here I ask it to write 10 possible usability issues that can come up when user creates a new workout reminder. So here we have a list of different suggestions that includes a complex user interface, lack of guidance, limited customization, and so on. And to be honest, these type of usability issues are quite generic because they can't come up with any other application that is available on the market. You can, of course, keep all of these suggestions in mind, especially the ones that talk about customization or about inflexible scheduling. But you can also go back to your text prompt and tweak your prompt a bit. This time, we are going to add a short sentence about our user from the user personas, which will hopefully give us much more relevant answer and suggest much more relevant usability issues. Because we mentioned that our user is based in the Netherlands, the point number 2 and number 3 focus on language barriers and time zone confusion. So for example, if we don't have Dutch language support in our application and the person doesn't speak English, as an example, this can be a huge usability issue for us. And the same goes about the time zone format. So if our application doesn't handle time zones correctly, it will result in worse usability and user friendliness. So with this example, you can see the more details you specify about your users, the more relevant usability suggestions you'll receive from ChatGPT. Now it's your turn to act. Take these prompts we just discussed and tweak them by adding more details about your design project and users. This will help you to simulate your user flows and discover usability issues to make your product eventually even more usable and user-friendly. AI tools hold great potential to completely transform how we tackle the UX design process. But it's important to be aware of a couple of limitations and ethical aspects associated with them. First of all, no AI tool can fully replace human empathy. This is especially relevant when we are talking about user research. As you might already imagine, AI cannot fully comprehend context nor detect human feelings and intentions during this design stage. That's why keeping empathy through the whole design process is important to meet user needs. Another limitation of AI I want to mention is its creativity. AI in general struggles to generate new ideas and also original concepts. That's why designers should keep innovating and adding their personal touch to create unique and user-relevant products. AI tools are also limited when it comes to ethical decision-making and avoidance of biased choices. So the way AI works is that it makes decisions and recommendations based on the data sets it's trained on. And if that data set contains biased information, it will be reflected in the results as well. That's why it's crucial to feed AI with diverse data sets to train it properly and avoid reinforcing stereotypes and biased information. Finally, when using AI tools, we need to prioritize security. Imagine if you input sensitive information such as your personal data, company secrets, or user research findings into AI systems. They can eventually learn from it and share your data with others in the format of results. And I bet this is something you definitely don't want to face during your work. So let's make the most of AI in our UX design process. But remember to stay empathetic with your users and ethical while using different AI tools.
सर स्क्रीन स्टॉक हो गया है मतलब स्टॉप हो गया है सर कब से
Congratulations on reaching the final video of this course.
Okay, we're done with, right? So you can
सर
enable
बीच
your
में
video as well. So I
हाँ
want to know who is sleeping, who is on the desk, or who is out of the desk. We can check later video.
सर एक्चुअली बीच में स्क्रीन स्टॉप हो गया था मैं मतलब बोली बट आई थिंक सुना ही नहीं दिया
कैसा है कि स्क्रीन कितना कपल ऑफ सेकंड्स के लिए या कपल ऑफ मिनट्स के लिए?
सर कपल ऑफ मिनट्स के लिए स्टॉप हो गया था
फॉर यू
एंड
ओनली और फॉर ऑल?
आई
नहीं
थिंक
लास्ट
सबके
में अभी
लिए
कुछ
हुआ था या सिर्फ आपके लिए? आप
नहीं
वीडियो ऑन कीजिए सुबह लक्ष्मी जी।
हाँ सर सर मेरे में दिखाई दे रहा था कि स्टॉप है करके
हाँ,
मतलब
लेकिन
लास्ट में
कौन सा चैप्टर चल रहा था उस टाइम?
सर लास्ट चैप्टर चल रहा था लास्ट
हाँ,
का
आपने बोला ना
मतलब
वीडियो खत्म हो गया अभी स्टॉप, वही क्या?
नहीं हाँ उस टाइम मैं बोल रही थी कि कब से स्टॉप हो गया है करके
ओके ओके ओके, दैट इज कंक्लूजन ओनली, right? So
Yes, sir.
AI will not replace all the UX designer, UI designer, or any graphic designer as well. So they cannot create creativity themselves. They just hallucinate in AI tools. So this is very short 1 hour 20 minutes video where why I show you this because day-to-day tasks you have to done very quickly, right? So how you can manage, suppose you value adding any features to your existing application. In that scenario, all academic we are learning in our class because it's very professional long project which required 3 to 4 months to complete whole project, right? Which is actual industry standard project, which is I'm teaching to you. And right now we are completing secondary research, final stage of secondary research. But similarly, in bits and pieces, if you're not getting work on full project from scratch to end, and you're working on some parts of the screen or work, so you have to deliberately work on sprint basis, 2 week sprints particularly. So how you can manage that?
Yes.
That's I want to give the brief about it. Hope you get some good insights from this video.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, which tools you learn this today's video?
So Notion AI, Adobe Firefly,
Okay,
फिग्मा में
बाकी तो
भी
फिर
बहुत सारे प्लगइन्स थे
हाँ,
प्लगइन्स थे
बाकी तो
हाँ।
प्लगइन्स थे हमारे।
हाँ फिग्मा में प्लगइन्स कौन से यूज किया हम लोगों ने?
फ्री पिक, एवेटार जनरेशन और रिलम इप्सन।
एक टेक्स्ट के लिए भी किया है।
राइट बेटर करके है,
हम्म।
राइट बेटर देन
और मुझे अगर अवतार क्रिएट करना है तो उसके लिए क्या है?
सर प्लगइन में रिसोर्स में जाके प्लगइन में जाके एवेटार जनरेशन को रन करना है।
Okay, so you have to make sure you can use fully utilize. You can try it at your end while you working. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and
Yes, sir.
I want to request you complete the unique identify features and extracted benchmarking by tomorrow EOD. Tomorrow you will finish that so we can take on next step.
यस सर।
यस सर।
कोर्स बढ़ गया तो फीस बढ़ाएंगे, ड्यूरेशन बढ़ गया तो। So make note down so your duration should not exceed. Okay, so from my side this much. So I want you to kickstart and complete whatever you want. So Diksha is where? She is not.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
तो मैंने वीडियो ऑन करने के लिए बोला है सबको।
नहीं सर, जस्ट मैंने अभी ऑफ किया, जस्ट अभी ऑफ किया।
मुझे दीक्षा दिखी नहीं अभी तक।
नहीं नहीं सर, अभी तक थी मैं। अभी जस्ट मैंने ऑफ किया, 1 मिनट अभी
अभी
मैंने
आप
लोग
दोनों तरफ से ज्वाइन करते हो क्या?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, एक ही तरफ से ज्वाइन करती हूँ सर, मैं सिस्टम से ही ज्वाइन करती हूँ।
ओके ओके ठीक है,
हम्म।
कोई बात नहीं। So let's try and let me know if you have any queries on this as well, this video as well. Okay.
यस
Yes,
सर।
sir.
This kind of training we can create using AI as well. So AI provide the audio and everything. This kind of training sessions, right?
सर
Okay.
ये मिल
Bye
सकता
for
है,
now. Huh?
ये वीडियो मिल सकता है क्या
It's a
बाद में?
paid video. I cannot share with you.
ओके
It's a paid to my login only.
ओके ओके।
So you have recording now, so you can
हाँ हाँ सर, वो भी
take
है
that.
मतलब वो भी है।
Okay, bye for now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Bye,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.